Hello one and all, and welcome back to another episode from the cinema. I am your host Josh Rudolph, and today I go back to the horror roots of how this show first began, and I talk about The Invisible Man. Now this is the newest version of The Invisible Man. There have been several iterations of this character done in the past. You have the original way back in the early 1900s. Now you have this modern day version, and what this film tells the story of a woman who escapes her abusive husband, but she later comes to find out that not only has he faked his own death, but he has found a way to turn himself invisible, and it begins haunting her and making her believe that she is going crazy. This film was written and directed by Leigh Whannell, and I don't know if that name sounds familiar to you, but he created the Saw franchise, the Insidious franchise, wrote and directed a movie called Upgrade, which I highly recommend you go see, and now seeing him take the reins again in the director's chair, I thought that he did a fantastic job with his, I believe this is his third time directing a film. Easily best thing in this movie is Elisabeth Moss. She commands the screen every single second she is on. She is 100% believable. This is like the first major role that I've seen her in. I haven't seen Handmaid's Tale yet, but I know that I should. But like, after seeing this, she is absolutely incredible and is easily the one reason you should go see this movie above anything else. What I was really worried about going into this movie was it be either very gimmicky or just be very rinse, repeat over and over again with the horror. Because when you have a character that's completely invisible and is haunting someone, it kind of becomes a ghost story in a sense, where it's like you don't see what's happening, and it's like, you know, silence goes around the corner, here's a noise, silence goes around the corner, here's a noise, and thankfully that's not how the horror is done in this film. Now, of course, the first time it happens, that is usually the case, but that's how it's supposed to go. But as it keeps going, the scares keep evolving, and by the second half of the movie, it pretty much completely changes into almost kind of like an action thriller kind of movie, if that makes any sense, where she understands what's haunting her and she knows how to fight back, and it becomes a very different film, but I love it because of that. Something that I always worry about with horror films is they over-rely on jump scares. And of course, in every horror film, you're going to get jump scares. It's just how it works. But if you've seen any other horror movie review I've done on here, my favorite kind of horror is when it's psychological horror. And thankfully, that's basically how the entire horror around this film is based upon. Not only does this film play into the fear of someone stalking you, but also plays into the fears of an abusive ex trying to come after you, and like the fear that kind of comes from that. Now, I've never been in a situation like that, but I know there are several people that have, and if you have, that would be my only warning. If you've related to experiences like that, just be forewarned, that's kind of what the movie is about. But thankfully, they do the psychological scares incredibly well, and I was very thankful for that. As a whole, I thought The Invisible Man was a great twist on the classic movie monster, and updating it for the modern era and giving it those twists and turns I thought was a genius idea. The scares were done incredibly well, sound design was fantastic, cinematography, the switch in the second half of the movie I thought was done very well, and of course Elisabeth Moss just being absolutely amazing in this film. Is one of the, thankfully, one of the best horror movies I've seen in a while, and I hope that future horror movies this year are about as good as this. This was an incredibly good time. If you haven't seen it, highly, highly recommend. It's a blast. I'm going to give The Invisible Man an 8 out of 10. So that was my review of The Invisible Man. I hope that you all enjoyed, and please make sure that you follow Basic Cable Network on all our social medias, and I will see you all next time.